Welcome, folks. Today we are in your favorite YouTube channel, Uncle Rahul, your one-stop destination for all games and pop culture media. And welcome to the Deep Dive. Today, we're going to be tackling a true anomaly, I think, in the gaming world. Grand Theft Auto V.
Yes.
Here we are well into 2025, and this behemoth, which first, burst onto the scene way back in 2013,
Right.
is still incredibly popular. Tons of people, diving in every single day.
Yeah.
And you shared some really interesting material with us that kind of explores this whole phenomenon.
It did.
And it got us thinking, what's the secret sauce that allows a game from over a decade ago to still have such a powerful grip on the gaming community? Is it groundbreaking innovation? Is it just an incredibly thriving and dedicated community? Or is it perhaps a combination of factors that, we haven't even considered yet? So our mission today is to really dig into the key elements behind GTA V's just incredible staying power.
Okay.
To kind of ponder whether this reign, will continue.
Yeah, it's a fascinating case study, isn't it? When you look at the typical lifespan of a major game,
Yep.
most have their period of peak popularity and then they gradually, kind of make way for newer titles.
Right.
But the fact that GTA V continues to be such a dominant force more than 10 years after its release truly sets it apart.
Yeah.
And what's particularly compelling, I think, is the multi-layered approach that Rockstar has taken, whether intentionally or not, to achieve this remarkable longevity.
So let's start by unpacking what seems like, a major piece of the puzzle here.
Okay.
GTA Online.
Yes.
It feels like Rockstar didn't just release like a multiplayer mode. They essentially built like an entirely new, sprawling and constantly evolving game on top of an already successful single-player experience.
Right.
It's more than just playing with friends.
Yeah.
A persistent, dynamic world.
Precisely. And if we connect this to broader trends in the industry, GTA Online is a prime example of the, game as a service model in action. This continuous stream of updates the new heists that offer fresh challenges and rewards.
Yeah.
The expansions to in-game businesses that provide new avenues for progression, and the constant influx of new vehicles and items that cater to that desire for customization and status,
Right.
all work together to keep the online experience from becoming stagnant.
Yeah.
And as some of the sources you looked at pointed out, it's effectively become a never-ending crime empire simulator.
I love that. It's a good way to put it.
And this taps into a fundamental desire for progression and mastery
Right.
that many long-term games leverage.
Yeah.
This consistent introduction of new toys and challenges provides a continuous sense of accomplishment even years after initial release for you as a player.
And you can't talk about GTA V's enduring appeal without highlighting, I think, the incredible impact of the roleplay community.
Oh, absolutely.
I mean, if you've ever spent any time browsing platforms like Twitch, you've likely seen just the massive popularity of GTA RP. It's like the game itself has become a stage for these incredibly intricate, player-driven narratives.
Yeah.
It's almost like a giant interactive improv session.
It really is. What's particularly interesting here is that this vibrant RP scene is largely a grassroots movement. It's fueled by the passion and ingenuity of the modding community, rather than officially supported dedicated servers from Rockstar.
Right.
So these players create their own rules, they develop complex characters with backstories, and weave these incredibly engaging storylines within the existing game world.
Yeah.
Essentially crafting entirely new game experiences for themselves and those watching.
It's amazing.
So this raises a crucial question for you to consider.
Right.
How much does this community-led innovation contribute to the game's remarkable staying power?
Right.
It's a powerful testament to the flexibility and depth of the platform Rockstar initially created.
Which leads perfectly into the whole world of modding for GTA V.
Oh.
The sheer creativity and variety coming out of that community are just staggering.
It's mind-blowing.
We're talking about transforming Los Santos into practically any kind of environment or scenario you can imagine. From superhero simulators where you can fly around as your favorite characters, to full-blown zombie apocalypses and visual overhauls that can make the game look like a completely modern release.
Exactly. And these extensive modding capabilities unlock a level of replayability that very few other games can even approach.
Right.
It allows players to continuously reinvent their individual experiences, to explore the game world in entirely new and unexpected ways. And this taps into a fundamental desire among gamers for customization and agency. architecture provides an exceptionally fertile ground for this kind of creative expression.
Yeah.
It's almost like the game becomes a platform for other games, designed by the players themselves.
And then there's just the core of the game itself.
Right.
That incredibly detailed open-world sandbox.
Yeah.
Even if you strip away the online component and the mods,
Yeah.
the sheer freedom to explore, to experiment, to engage in everything from mundane activities like driving a taxi to causing over-the-top chaos, it's really unmatched in a lot of ways.
Yeah.
There isn't one single right way to play, and I think that's a huge part of its enduring appeal for you.
I agree.
You can just jump in and do whatever feels fun or interesting at that moment.
That's a crucial point, and the density and the level of detail in the world that Rockstar so meticulously crafted are still remarkably impressive.
Yeah.
Even when compared to many modern open world games, the sheer number of activities you can engage in, the emergent gameplay possibilities that arise from the game's systems interacting,
Right.
the feeling that the world is alive and reacts to your actions,
Yeah.
these are all significant factors that contribute to that sense of endless possibility.
Right.
And keep players coming back to see what else they can discover.
Okay, but let's shift gears a bit and consider the counter arguments as some of the material you shared with us touched upon. Has GTA V perhaps overstayed its welcome? In the gaming landscape, I mean, it's been over a decade since it first hit shelves. The anticipation for the next installment, GTA VA,
Right.
has been building for years now.
For sure.
Yeah.
And this raises an important question about player expectations and the natural human desire for novelty and fresh experiences.
Right.
The exceptionally long development cycle for GTA VA,
Yeah.
coupled with Rockstar's continued and very visible focus on GTA V,
Yeah.
has undoubtedly led to a degree of frustration and impatience
Yeah.
within the wider gaming community. And the fact that we've seen multiple re-releases and remasters of
Yeah.
GTV across 3 different console generations,
Yeah.
from the PlayStation 3 all the way to the current PlayStation 5,
Yeah.
does fuel the perception among some that Rockstar might be prioritizing the substantial and ongoing revenue stream from GTA V
Yeah.
over delivering a completely new and groundbreaking experience.
It's hard not to see why some might feel like they're milking the game's popularity at this point, especially when you look at the monetization strategies within GTA Online. The prominent presence of shark cards, which allow players to purchase in-game currency with real money,
Right?
and the often exorbitant prices of many virtual items.
Yeah.
It can definitely create a feeling that you're being subtly pushed to spend real money to keep pace or acquire the items you desire.
The monetization strategy employed in GTA Online is undeniably a significant contributor to its ongoing financial success.
Yeah.
But as your sources likely pointed out,
Yeah.
it also introduces a potential point of friction
Uh-huh.
for players.
For sure.
The high cost of certain virtual assets can, for some, create a sense of a pay-to-progress
Right.
or even a pay-to-compete dynamic,
Right.
where acquiring the best vehicles, weapons, or businesses feels heavily gated behind either an immense amount of in-game grinding or the direct purchase of shark cards.
Right.
And this can, over time, lead to player fatigue
Yeah.
and even resentment, even within a dedicated and otherwise engaged player base.
And it's also hard to ignore the single-player side of things.
Right.
Despite a significant amount of, vocal demand from players who loved the story mode of GTA V, we never really saw any substantial single-player DLC expansions. It very much feels like the vast majority of development resources shifted towards supporting and expanding GTA Online,
Yeah.
which, while undeniably successful in its own right, left a lot of fans who primarily enjoyed the narrative-driven experience feeling somewhat overlooked.
That's a valid observation and a sentiment echoed in many discussions about the game.
Right.
The richness and potential of the single-player narrative and the intricately designed world certainly suggested numerous avenues for compelling DLC content.
Yeah.
The fact that these opportunities weren't pursued does strongly suggest a strategic decision by Rockstar.
Yeah.
To prioritize the ongoing revenue generation and player engagement that the online component offered, this pivot, while financially understandable, did arguably leave a segment of their audience feeling that their preferences were no longer the primary focus.
So looking ahead into the crystal ball a bit, let's speculate.
Okay.
What are the chances that we'll still be hearing about people actively playing GTA V in, say, 2030? That would be almost 2 decades after its initial release.
Wow.
It seems almost unbelievable.
Considering the remarkable resilience we've already seen,
Yeah.
and factoring in the continued strength and creativity of the community, The dedicated role players, the innovative modders,
Right.
coupled with the possibility that Rockstar might continue to provide meaningful updates and support for GTA Online.
Right.
It's not entirely unreasonable to envision GTA V maintaining a significant and active player base even 5 years from now,
Wow.
approaching that 20-year mark. The established community is an incredibly powerful force in gaming.
Yeah.
And as long as they have the tools and the platform to express themselves and engage with the game in meaningful ways, they will likely continue to find new reasons to return to Los Santos.
So to recap the key takeaways from our deep dive today,
Okay.
it looks like the enduring popularity of Grand Theft Auto V is this really fascinating and complex blend of factors. The continuous evolution of GTA Online with its regular injections of new content and features.
Yes.
The incredibly creative and dedicated role-playing community that has essentially built a whole new layer on top of the game. The almost limitless potential for player-driven innovation offered by the extensive modding capabilities.
Absolutely.
And of course, the sheer depth, detail, and unparalleled freedom of that core open-world sandbox experience that Rockstar initially delivered.
Right.
But as we've also discussed, there are definitely valid counter-arguments and potential downsides to this prolonged dominance, including the long wait for GTA C, the repeated re-releases of the same game, and some of the monetization practices within GTA Online.
Exactly. It paints a complex picture.
It does?
With significant strengths that have clearly contributed to its extraordinary longevity, alongside potential weaknesses and external factors that could eventually lead to a shift in the gaming landscape. The industry is constantly evolving, and while GTA V has proven to be remarkably resilient,
Yeah.
history tells us that even the most dominant forces eventually make way for new innovations and experiences.
Well, this has been a truly insightful deep dive into the ongoing saga of Grand Theft Auto V.
It has.
Considering the immense power of community-driven content and Rockstar's continued support, what could be that unexpected black swan event, that unforeseen innovation or new game that finally shifts the gaming landscape away from GTA V's long-standing dominance? It's definitely a compelling question to ponder.
It is.
Thanks for diving deep with us today.
My pleasure.
And don't forget to subscribe to channel Uncle Rahul.